What if the greatest treasures aren't found in museums,
But in the wrinkles around a kind stranger's eyes? Serafina, nearly 90, lived in a small, unassuming cottage nestled among the towering redwood trees of Northern California. It wasn't a grand estate nor a picturesque farmhouse, but a simple, comfortable dwelling filled with the scent of lavender and the soft glow of countless sunsets captured in photographs. She lived there for over 50 years, a silent observer to the forest's ever-changing tapestry. Her days were quiet, marked by the gentle rhythm of nature. The rustling leaves, the chirping birds, the distant roar of the ocean, these were her companions. She spent her mornings tending to her small garden, coaxing life from the soil, her gnarled fingers surprisingly nimble as she pruned roses and watered herbs. Afternoons were reserved for reading, her eyes tracing the words of well-loved novels, her mind wandering through their imaginary worlds. Evenings were for reflection, for watching the sunset paint the sky in vibrant hues, for remembering. But Serafina wasn't simply existing. She was living deeply and deliberately. She possessed a quiet wisdom, etched onto her face like lines on a map, each one a testament to a life fully lived, a life filled with joy and sorrow, triumph and heartbreak. It wasn't a wisdom gleaned from books or lectures, but a wisdom born from experience, from navigating the unpredictable currents of life. One crisp autumn morning, a young woman named Clara stumbled upon Serafina's cottage. Clara was a whirlwind of restless energy, a recent college graduate adrift in a sea of uncertainty. She was pursuing a career as a digital nomad, hoping to discover a deep purpose in life.
her backpack was heavy, not just with her belongings,
but with the weight of expectations, both her own and those of her parents. She was lost, both geographically and emotionally. Clara's phone had led her astray, promising a shortcut to a particularly scenic overlook. Instead, she found herself at the end of a winding dirt road facing Serafina's cottage. Hesitantly, she knocked on the door. Serafina answered, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Lost, dear?" she asked, her voice a gentle melody. Clara, flustered, explained her predicament. Serafina smiled. "Come in, child. You look like you could use a cup of tea." Inside the cottage, Clara felt an immediate sense of peace. The warmth of the fire, the aroma of chamomile tea, the quiet presence of Serafina. It was a sanctuary from the chaos of her own thoughts. As they sat by the fire, sipping tea, Clara found herself confiding in Serafina. She spoke of her anxieties about her career, her doubts about her path, her fear of failure. She confessed that, despite her best efforts, happiness seemed perpetually out of reach. Serafina listened patiently, her eyes filled with empathy. When Clara finished, she simply said, "Life isn't a straight line, dear. It's a winding road with unexpected turns, detours, and occasional potholes. The trick is not to avoid them,
but to learn how to navigate them."
Clara frowned. "But how do you do that? How do you navigate the potholes without getting stuck?" Serafina smiled. "By learning to let go. Let go of expectations. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the fear of making mistakes. The greatest mistake you can make is not trying at all." Over the next few days, Clara found herself drawn to Serafina's cottage. She helped in the garden, listened to Serafina's stories, and absorbed her wisdom like a thirsty plant soaking up the rain. Serafina shared tales of her own life, of her triumphs and failures, her loves and losses. She spoke of the importance of resilience, of finding joy in the small things, of living in the present moment. One afternoon, as they were sitting on the porch, watching the sunset, Clara noticed a small wooden box on a nearby table. "What's that?" she asked, pointing to the box. Serafina smiled. "That's my regret box." Clara looked puzzled. "A regret box?" "Indeed," Serafina said. "Every time I have a regret, something I wish I could change or undo, I write it down on a piece of paper and put it in the box." Clara's curiosity piqued. "Have you ever opened it?" Serafina nodded. "Slowly. Once, many years ago. It was overflowing. I read each one, and then I burned them." "Burned them? Why?" Clara asked, surprised. "Because," Serafina explained, "regret is a heavy burden to carry. It weighs you down, prevents you from moving forward. Acknowledging your mistakes is important, learning from them even more so. But dwelling on them, letting them define you, that's a waste of precious time and energy. Clara contemplated her words. She realizes that she had been trapped in a cycle of what-ifs and should-haves. She found herself constantly second-guessing her decisions, replaying past events in her mind, wishing she could change the outcome. Another day, Serafina gestured toward a photograph on the wall, a faded image of a young woman with bright eyes and a radiant smile. "That's me, many years ago," she said. "I had dreams, big dreams, just like you. Some I achieved, some I didn't." "Do you ever regret not achieving all of them?" Clara asked. Serafina paused, gazing thoughtfully at the photograph. "Of course," she admitted. "There were times when I felt like I had fallen short, like I hadn't lived up to my full potential. But then I realized that life isn't about achieving every dream. It's about embracing the journey, about learning and growing along the way. The detours, the setbacks, the unexpected challenges, they're all part of the story. And often, they lead us to places we never could have imagined." Clara began to see that living a fulfilling life wasn't about avoiding mistakes,
but about learning from them. It wasn't about achieving every goal, but about embracing the journey. It wasn't about controlling every aspect of her life,
but about surrendering to the flow of life. One evening, as they sat in comfortable silence, watching the fire dance in the hearth, Serafina turned to Clara and said, "Your life is like a garden. You have to tend to it, nurture it, and prune it. You have to weed out the negativity, the self-doubt, the fear. And you have to plant seeds of hope, of joy, of love. If you do that, you'll be amazed at what can blossom." Clara realized that Serafina wasn't just offering advice, she was sharing her very soul. She was giving Clara the tools to navigate life's challenges, to find joy in the present moment, to live a life filled with purpose and meaning. The time came for Clara to leave. As she packed her backpack, she felt a pang of sadness. She had grown to love Serafina's cottage, to cherish her wisdom, to appreciate her presence. Before she left, Clara turned to Serafina and asked, "How can I ever repay you for everything you've done for me?" Serafina smiled. "By living a good life, dear. By being kind to yourself and to others. By embracing the beauty of the world and by sharing your gifts with the world. That's all the repayment I need." Clara hugged Serafina tightly, tears welling up in her eyes. As she walked away from the cottage, she felt a sense of hope and determination. She knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but she also knew that she had the strength and wisdom to navigate it. Years passed. Clara continued her journey as a digital nomad, traveling to far-flung corners of the world. She pursued her career with passion and purpose. But she also made time for the things that truly mattered: connection, creativity, and compassion. She learned to embrace the unexpected, to find joy in the small things, to live in the present moment. One day, Clara received a letter. It was from a lawyer, informing her that Serafina had passed away. Along with the letter was a small wooden box. Clara recognized the box immediately. It was the regret box. With trembling hands, Clara opened the box. Inside, she found not regrets,
but seeds. Tiny, delicate seeds, each one.
Carefully labeled with a word: hope, joy, love, peace, gratitude, forgiveness, resilience. Clara realized that Serafina hadn't left her a box of regrets. She had left her a box of possibilities. She had left her a reminder that even in the face of loss and sorrow, life is full of potential, full of beauty, full of hope. Clara carried that box of seeds with her wherever she went. She planted them in gardens around the world, spreading Serafina's wisdom and kindness wherever she went. And in doing so, she ensured that Serafina's legacy would live on, blossoming in the hearts of others, reminding them that the greatest treasures aren't found in museums or vaults, but in living. The wrinkles around a kind stranger's eyes are maps to life's uncharted territories. Have you charted yours?
Yet?